Ooh.
Okay, I think. Well, yeah, we're live. I'll tell you, this StreamYard thing is amazing. I'm telling you right now. I didn't mind paying the big bucks for it. Everybody's telling me that they paid half of what I paid for this thing, but the things that I can do with this thing, guys, is absolutely amazing. Because I'm actually thinking of trying to do gaming with this, because of the way you can share the screen, and I could put OBS and have it down on the table, and have everybody get and play a game while we're here.
Nice.
By the way, if you don't know, I'm Rob Warren. We have Keith Collins with us, the great Keith Collins, and none other than Pete Shirey from It's Now Simon, right?
Simon, correct. We are just letting
caved.
We caved. Basically, it was Simon to start with, and then we had an idea to change it to Come On, and the fans have spoken, so we've decided to just embrace it, and we're going to go back to Simon, and that's going to be it. So just let it out. However you want to say it, as long as you enjoy the games, say it.
I was just, Scott, I sent you a link. Why don't you pop in? Or are you real busy?
He's too busy eating taco flavored Doritos. But Scott, I got you, because I found 3 bags, not just 1, but 3 bags that are sitting on my table right over there. So nah.
I have no taco flavored Doritos, but I found some pretzels that are amazing.
Ooh, what kind of pretzels is that?
Oh God, I don't know what they're called. There's some like lady's name, and now I don't have any clue. I need to go find. I have to Google Foo it and see if I can find them.
I like pretzels. My wife loves pretzels, so if you have a recommendation, I'd love to hear it. Pretzels are one of her favorite snacks.
You know the pretzels that we like is, and my wife will make me drive halfway across the United States for them, is the ones that they cook in like those little pretzel shops, like Pretzel Time or something like that.
Are they like soft pretzels that you like dip in cheese or have? Or
yeah.
Like the Auntie Anne's pretzels or whatever you see in the mall, except better.
Oh God, James likes pretzels.
Everyone
hey Lizzie,
likes pretzels.
Scotty, come on! Look at this. He says hi, guys, and then he just refuses to come on.
Dots pretzels, Keith.
That sounds about right.
Aldi said Dots, so that
I gotta look up the bag. Yep, it's Dots Homestyle pretzels. They're freaking amazing. So I bought them all today.
Well, what makes them so good?
Their flavor.
Are they like different kind of flavors or
just regular? No, just says Dots, but it's got like some kind of seasoning on it. They're amazing.
I'm looking these up now. I'm gonna see if
now we need to look it up. All right, hold on.
Yeah, heck yeah. If there's pretzels involved, I'm in.
All right, hold on. I think I can do this because I now added another screen.
Oh, look at you. Ooh, Dots pretzels. Dots Homestyle pretzels. Yeah, they sell them on Amazon. You can buy.
It's their top secret seasoning blend that they're dusted with.
Ooh, they actually sell a crumble too. Dots pretzel crumble that you can use to like cook with and stuff.
I'm guessing it's like Hidden Valley Ranch on them or something like that.
I'm guessing so.
They're freaking amazing, and they come in a nice resealable bag. And the store had them, and I bought 1 bag, and I ate them all. And then when I went back to the store today to get some stuff, I bought all the bags.
I have an intruder. Say hello, Bella.
Hey, Bella, how are you?
Don't hit me. Just say hi.
Hi.
And then get out of here. Love you.
All right, screen 1. Shit, there we go. Oh, there we go.
Infinity.
And beyond. Hold on, let me see if I can get everybody in here. There we go. Look at that. Now we can take a look at
Dots Homestyle pretzels. Good.
All right, so seasoned snacks. Let's see what they got here. Gourmet snack, a family favorite. So this is it, huh?
That's it right there. That's what I bought.
They do look good.
Oh man,
they're twisted pretzels, aren't they?
Yeah, they're twisted. They've got seasoning. You sit there.
I could dip those in cheese sauce all day.
No, that'll ruin them.
No, are they that good on their own?
Yes, eat them plain because they're covered in flavoring. Just save your cheese sauce.
It's just one flavor?
Pretzels. Yeah, they're just covered in like all flavoring. I think it's like a ranch flavor. That's what I think.
Okay, I'm looking for the ranch on them.
Let me see here. So I'm guessing Aldi likes them too, since he knew the name right off the top. So 2 recommendations. Let me see if I can find a bag that's not jacked up in price here. 1 pound bag for $16.
$16. I paid $5 today.
So they're a lot more.
$5.
So wait and see if I can find them
$4
in
or $5
store.
for a 1 pound bag.
Yeah, that's a little. $115 for a 16-ounce bag. Yeah, people aren't trying to jack up the prices due to the scare, are they?
Top secret. It's top secret season.
Oh
like it.
God!
I like
never heard. This is the first time I'm ever hearing them. I'm gonna have to order some now, without a doubt.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna check next time we go to Costco or something. I'll see if I can find these.
Oh, definitely. I would like to welcome everybody.
Bags of pretzels. You after you have just one. That's a review.
We have everybody on Twitch. We also have people on YouTube here. So welcome everybody. Just remember that we are now on Twitch. You can find us at Rob's Tabletop World, and just all you got to do is follow us, and we're growing pretty quickly there. So I'm pretty excited about it, and we dual stream everything now. Always trying to push the envelope. There we go. But most importantly, I guess somebody just came back from GAMA. Yeah, that's you, Pete.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
Now, Keith and I have not been paying attention to games at all. Would you agree with that, Keith?
I haven't paid attention at all. I played games last Wednesday, and then I hadn't played for a while, and I haven't touched anything.
Yeah,
it's sad.
Yeah. It gets to that point where with all the things going on, you kind of get away from it. I've been going on every day doing what I can, and but when you get off, it hits you in the face real quick.
Yeah.
But GAMA was kind of different this year. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it, Pete?
Well, so GAMA trade show was held at Reno, Nevada. It was last Monday through Friday. Most of the programming runs Monday through Thursday. Friday, there's a few things going on, but most part it's the travel day to head home. Some people can still disassemble booths and ship stuff out, and there's a couple retail things going on. But 2 pounds for $10. Okay.
Yeah, I know, that kind of just stopped me dead.
I'm like, all I can think about is pretzels now. But the GAMA trade show it's a show for retailers. It's a show that teaches retailers best practices for how to inventory, sales techniques, employee benefits. It's just an educational conference that allows the GAMA organization to do seminars and panels to help retailers better service the board game community. There's also opportunities for the publishers and retailers to connect in order to find out, how to acquire products or find out what's new coming up for the year and stuff. So it's like, put it in perspective, it's like Gen Con if all the attendees were retailers and the publishers were there. So it's a show just for the trade in order to learn how to better sell games for the rest of the year. Obviously, amidst all the things that are going on outside of our little bubble, there was definitely a different feel at the show this year. There was a big emphasis on, not shaking and hugging, but more just waving or elbow tapping. There was definitely a little bit of a drop in attendance, but there were still a lot more people there than I expected. There was some publishers that backed out last minute just for fear for their employees and whatnot, but there was still a fairly strong attendance overall. I would say it definitely was down from last year, but not nearly as drastically as I would have expected considering everything going on. So it was a good show. Like I said, we had a lot of good interactions and stuff, and everybody got out of there okay. There was no real issues travel-wise this year. Most people, I believe, got home safely from what I've been reading on the GAMA Facebook group. But overall, just a good show and some big announcements that were made for as far as games coming out, distribution deals, that type of thing. Most of that stuff you guys probably wouldn't ever notice or care about, but there was definitely some cool new announcements made game-wise from some of the companies, and there'll be a lot of the companies that pulled out of GAMA will probably be making announcements over the next few weeks. So if those of you that really follow the hobby, you'll be hearing stuff from Facebook pages and companies' websites about a lot of their new lineup that's coming out. But overall, the show, I'd say, was fairly successful considering everything else that's going on in the world.
Well, that's good. What was the big game to come out of that?
There wasn't really a giant game announcement, I would say. Not as much as more of like for instance, Fantasy Flight announced something about bringing back Imperial Assault into the fold and new content for it, which was a surprise.
I thought they were supposed to kill that.
I thought it was one of those things they said they were done making it, but then there was an announcement that was I just read. I didn't even hear about it at the show. I actually read about it after the show that the Imperial Assault is kind of a thing again. So they announced Clone Wars going into Armada, which was something interesting that, so there's that. A lot of other companies more than announcing new games at the show were announcing like what type of delays or possibly restructuring of the timelines for games coming out. So obviously, most people are uncertain about the games that are going to be coming out once we get past April, May. I think most people that have their release dates up through April, May are okay with it because that's stuff that was probably pre-Chinese New Year and pre-coronavirus. But once you start getting past May is when you're going to start seeing the effects of the shipping lanes being shut down for an additional month and the manufacturers being shut down for an additional month. And as the manufacturers get back up to speed and the bottleneck hits shipping, because there's only so many containers that can ship, you're going to start to see a lot of jumbling of the release dates and even possibly pushing stuff back into next year that's going to be affected by all the other stuff going on. So,
I wonder what they could possibly be coming out with this year. Is there anything that you're looking forward to, Keith?
No.
And I kind of felt the same way. I got to be honest with you. I feel the same way.
Well, I haven't paid enough attention to know what's coming. I mean, like I want my crap backed on Kickstarter. That stuff I look forward to.
So
that's exactly the stuff I'm looking for.
What are you hanging on in Kickstarter now? I mean, I'm
not backing anything currently, just the stuff I've already paid for that I've got to wait for.
What I mean is how many are you backed up now?
How many Kickstarters do you have pending from your last fulfilled one that are supposed to be out this year? Like how many are you waiting?
See what I've got coming. Let's see.
I already know my number because I was looking at it just the other night. I'm waiting on about 15 games that were supposed to be out in 2019, which I feel like is going to get pushed back into 2021.
Let's look at my list. I've got Tidal Blades, Heroes of the Reef.
Me too.
I think that's my oldest. It is.
Oh wow.
How old's that, Keith?
Oh, it was due in October last year.
Yep. I've got a couple before that because I'm still waiting on Street Fighter and Rambo that were both pre-Tidal Waves blades, but that's also another big one. I got to see that at GAMA, actually. They had that on the table.
Then my next oldest backed isn't due till next month, which it's not going to make it. Then I got Critical Core, which is past due. It's an RPG, so I figured they were wrong on that. Let's see, I just got that book, so that doesn't count. This next one's just some coins due 20 April. Too Many Bones Splice and Dice is late.
Too Many Bones?
Splice and Dice.
Splice and Dice. Yeah.
Let's see. Endeavor Age of Expansion is late because of stuff and things. Role Player is going to be late, but they just sent a print and play for the expansion. If you want.
Yeah, I just saw that email.
Oh, that's cool.
Them to do the print and play since they know they're not going to make their timeline. So I was happy.
Hey, Undaunted.
None of my other stuff is late. It's just more recent things that I backed that are out later this year, like Margraves of Valeria, Trudvang Legends, Dwellings of Eldervale, Merchant's Cove.
Mm-hmm. Merchant's Cove. What's that? Pirate?
No, that's an asymmetric Euro game that looked really cool.
Yep. Oh. I'm waiting for that one also.
I backed Madeira Collector's Edition, the 5-Minute Mystery, and Divinity Original Sins, Shiver Me Timbers, and Marvel United. There, that covers everything.
Yep, I've got, of course, Airlines and Dog's Life, the two I've been waiting on for years now. But once we get into the stuff that was supposed to be out this year, last year actually, Street Fighter Miniatures game was supposed to be out last March. Still waiting on that. Sentinels of Freedom, which is the Sentinels video game that's supposed to be like Freedom Force. Mm-hmm. Waiting on that one still. I got Eclipse, so that one can be taken off the list. TMG's Belfort 10th Anniversary Edition. Project Elite is going to be this year. Tidal Blades, Rambo, Venom Assault. I got that one this week, so I could take that off the list. Trick Shot Ice Hockey, which
oh shoot, that's right. That's supposed to come soon.
that's supposed to come out soon, but I don't know how far that's going to get pushed back.
Mm-hmm.
Batman Gotham Chronicles Season 2. Then we get into Endeavor Age of Expansion, which is supposed to be in February. That's late. Alter Quest, which is supposed to be June. Role Player, which Keith already mentioned. Super Fantasy Brawl. Dwellings of Everdale, I actually got shipping information on, so that one's coming soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got information. I got something from Fun Again today, and then right after it, I got an email from them saying that they're starting to get fulfillment ready. So I'm assuming that's the game. Dice Thrones Season 1 rerolled. Merchant's Cove, like Keith mentioned. Yido Deluxe. Fossils. Magnate. Unsettled. Foundations of Rome. Shiver Me Timbers. Rivals Networks, Marvel United, and Batman Animated Series Adventures. That's all I'm waiting on now.
Wow.
Big list.
That is a huge list.
I'm a huge Kickstarter backer. I mean, I think we all know I'm a super duper backer. I back almost everything that I'm interested in. And it's partially because I like to support the platform and I like all the extra goodies, but a lot of times it's just because there's so many games coming out. If I don't back it, there's a good chance I'll miss it. And then sometimes if they don't reprint right away, you can sit on stuff for forever. If I back it, then it shows up at my door one day and I'm good to go.
I just, I just wonder, and not to bring up everything that's going on so much, but is it really worth to go to some of these conventions when a lot of the stuff just isn't probably going to be there?
Well, there's one convention left that I care about. Gen Con's fine, but BGG Con's my jam.
Yeah.
And tickets go on sale tomorrow for you plebes. So
yeah, that's the same thing I was thinking to keep saying.
Now is that for spring or fall?
Fall.
Oh yeah, fall. Well, fall, definitely fall. I love fall. The fall one was so good this year. I barely saw you at that one. I mean, you were just off playing everything, Keith.
I was playing a lot of games at that convention.
Yeah.
I did get to play a game with you, and I really liked that game, and I can't remember the name of the game.
Oh, I remember you did play a game. Hold on, it'll take me a second to pull it up. You played the dice game for Lorenzo Magnifico.
Yes.
I can't remember the full name of it, but yeah, you played that with us.
Dude with the orange hat looks like he's ready to flex and start smashing his desk and calling the viewers pipsqueaks and little touty cowards. Now, I did that earlier today.
We missed his rant. Yeah, I think honestly, PAX and BGG are probably the only two shows that aren't in jeopardy of getting canceled this year, because I mean, it looks like everything up to Origins has already been canceled. I'm imagining Origins is going to be announced any week or two now, because this doesn't seem like it's getting better before it's going to get worse. And then Gen Con's right around the corner from that. Comic-Con, those are the next big ones that haven't announced cancellation that are in line is Origins, Comic-Con, and Gen Con.
Well, we're waiting to hear on WrestleMania down here.
I heard that's coming up, in April or May? I can't imagine.
April 7th, they're going to cancel that. And when I talk about money to be lost, because they have a show before that, they have a Hall of Fame show, then they have all these independent little conventions and stuff like that. 70,000 people. 70,000
There's a
people.
lot of money going to be lost this year in conventions, and that's assuming right now just the ones that have canceled. But if this pushes on and it does get worse before it gets better, and we're looking at August, September before things start to get better, and we lose Comic-Con, which is almost 250,000 people, Origins at 20,000 people, and Gen Con at 60 to 80,000 people, that's a huge hit to the revenue streams of those cities, as well as the board game industry in whole. So it'll be a real interesting year to see how economically the game companies do without the busy convention schedule. Because I often wonder if people realize how much money they spend on conventions and if it really is worth it. The budgeting, marketing versus the actual spend.
I just canceled my Origins hotel.
And
Did you?
Like,
well,
20 minutes ago.
Here's the thing. Even if they don't cancel the show, how many people and companies are going to pull out of those shows? Because if things are still uncertain, why would you put your people at risk? Right? I mean, even if Origins happens and even if Comic-Con happens, I have to imagine attendance is going to be down in a big way because people are going to be scared. Even if things are starting to slow down, people are still going to be scared, and there's still the opportunity for stuff to spread. I mean,
well, let's figure this out. We're in the middle of March 16th. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Say by some miracle from heaven, it's going to get worse, and then around, what do you think the cutoff time is? Like April 15th, April 20th?
Well, only
are people if everything clears up by like April 30th, are people still scared to go in June?
Company perspective wise, at least for me, knowing working conventions for multiple companies now, for Asmodee and for Simon, you usually need a 2-month lead time to get all your stuff done. As far as shipping booth out there and shipping product, putting in the orders, getting the marketing materials, all that kind of stuff. You look at 2 months minimum to be well prepared for a show, and most companies will do it even maybe 3 months ahead of time. So we're right now at this point where people would start planning for Origins, and in the next month would be their like deadline to have all their stuff done and submitted and ready to go.
Yeah.
So I personally think that if things are still bad and there's still sanctions on public gatherings and all that at the end of April, then Origins is dead in the water. And then end of May would be Comic-Con and Gen Con. At that point, if things aren't better by end of May, I can't imagine you'd get within a month of Gen Con and still not have an answer on whether the show's happening or not if things are still the way they are now or worse. That's me personally. And I of course, I can't speak for the public's opinion. That's individual. But from an industry perspective, people have to start booking flights, planning their trips, planning their show schedule. That's done months in advance. So, I imagine publishers will be deciding on whether they're attending those shows probably by the end of April, and then May for the later two, Gen Con and Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's I gotta agree with you there. So what I've been doing, and I want to run this by you guys a bit, is I've been playing a lot of older stuff instead of some of the newer stuff. Because I don't know about you, Keith, but I'm kind of tired of a lot of the newer games.
Oh, I'm a cult of the new person, but I like old stuff too. Relatively speaking, for me.
What new has really tickled your fancy though?
Oh, the problem is I'm in a gaming funk right now, so nothing's tickling my fancy.
What was the last really new release that you really enjoyed? Even if it goes back to last year, just the last new game that hit your collection that you were real excited about.
Well, I just got Isle of Cats from Kickstarter, and that's new, and that was really cool.
Okay.
And I like Maracaibo, which is new, and it's
okay.
Really cool.
Those are both pretty new games
this year. And I liked stupid little Age of Dirt from WizKids late last year.
Age of Dirt?
I haven't even heard of that game yet. Age of Dirt?
What about it? Yeah, get it.
Hold on.
So while he's getting that game, the newest game I've played that actually really was fun was the Wonder Woman game by Ravensburger. I actually really enjoyed it. The gameplay is really solid.
Was it now? Tell me about this, because I think I saw it at BGG in the fall, and I went, okay, what is that?
It's super simple. You've got to try the cave people.
Okay.
And on your turn, you can take one of 3 actions. You can send 1 to 2 of your little cave people out to one of 4 locations to attempt to do things. Like they can go to the forest, and if they go to the forest, they can try to gather wood or berries that are used for building inventions. They can go to the quarry, where they can get leaves or boulders. The boulders are heavy, so it takes 2 people to carry a boulder. Unless you're the person that takes the action to go there, in which case you can get a boulder per person. You can go to the plains to hunt for fur, but the tiger lives in the plains, and that could be bad. Or you could go to the Happy Shack here, where you can make more cave people.
Oh, that kind
Hold
of
on,
happy
hold
shack.
up. I want to see what a happy shack looks like. It's been a while.
Wow, wow. Hmm.
And so you put 1 to 2 of your little workers in there to try to go gather resources. When you decide you want to go out to gather the resources, you pick up the box, you take all the cave people that are inside that box. So 1 action, send your guys out to do stuff. 2nd action, resolve one of the locations. 3rd action you can do is build a invention. And inventions are generally how you get points. But so say you want to go resolve the planes, you lift up the planes and you take all the people and the tiger that are inside there.
Right.
Okay. And then you take this little tower and you drop them in there.
Is that like the tower for Shogun where not everything
it's
comes
like a
out?
cube tower. So stuff will come out. Whatever comes out is what'll resolve. So if the tiger comes out with something, he'll eat a person from every tribe that came out with him.
Nice.
Unless they use their spear to fend him off.
That's
The
that's the kind of tiger I like.
I was going to say, this is right up your alley.
Yeah,
otherwise,
right.
for each of your people that came out, you get to take a pelt. You also have the option, if your drum's still working, some of your people get lost when they come back. So you can beat on your drum. And whenever you use your drum, you can take up to 2 or 3 whacks, I can't remember, where you can whack these little arms on the side of the thing to try to make more people come out. See if you can call them off. Otherwise, they just stay in the cave or in the lost in the tunnel.
And they'll come out the next time you drop stuff
then
in
later
there. Maybe.
On, so I may have sent 2 people off into the forest, but only 1 comes back. And then the next guy resolves the love shack. Next thing you know, your guy comes tumbling out of the love shack because instead of going to gather stuff in the forest, he got lost and went and just, and
did his thing in the love
next
shack.
thing you know, you've got another little cave person coming to live with you. But you have to have 2 people come out of the love tent in order to make a 3rd person. So, you can't just make a baby by yourself. So if 2 real people come out,
that's a different kind of shack.
If 2 different players come out, then they can agree to make a baby together.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Actually, sounds kind of cool. It sounds like it's part Shogun, part Stone Age.
Yeah, and it's pretty simple because you'll spend your resources you gather. Like this costs you a stone, and it gives you 1 star. First person 10 stars wins.
Okay.
So it's super fast playing. It's super simple, and it's super dumb fun. And that's why I dig it, because it's stupid dumb fun that you can play less than an hour for a little Euro game. So I like it quite a bit.
So
yes, James.
As far as dumb fun games, okay,
they are.
Would you consider this one of the best?
I mean, it was a really good little light game from last year. I expected nothing from it, and every time I've only played it twice, but I played it once at BGG Con and then once after I bought it, and I enjoy it a lot.
It's Age of Dirt again is the name of it?
Age of Dirt is the name.
I'm going to look it up. That's going to be on my short list.
It might be good for you and Bella.
I was just thinking that. Is it that simplistic
it
of
is
action?
Simple enough that you can play with kids.
All right.
Yeah, there is the complexity is not that high. There's not a lot of screwing with other players in it. So it's just a fun, stupid little game.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon for $34 with Prime.
Yep, that's about all.
Wow.
It's a pretty cool little game. But I haven't got a lot of games played this year. It's been really slow gaming, so
really,
it's hard for me to name much else.
Is that just because of work and stuff, or you just haven't had the time to play?
It's been hard to get the game group together, and every year, like January's just a freaking desert of getting any gaming done. December and January are horrible for me.
And I've noticed that too, and especially with everything else going on, it seems like trying to get people to come over is going to be harder and harder this year. This is going to be one of those years where I play more video games than board games, unfortunately.
Well, there isn't anything worth a crap at playing video games either right now. So
yeah,
I'm going back to older stuff.
I've got a couple titles coming out this year I'm excited about.
You got Animal Crossing coming this
yeah, I've got that coming Friday. I've got 3 copies of that reserved at GameStop.
Maneater comes out in May. I'm looking forward to Maneater. That's going to be like GTA 5, the shark version of GTA 5. The Avengers game comes out in May, which I'm looking forward to that. There was something else. Oh, Roller Champions is coming out in April, which is a cool new game from Ubisoft. It's kind of like roller derby and basketball. I got that stuff to look forward to. Plus, there's always Civ 6. I play Civ 6 at least once a month.
I've been playing a lot of role-playing games on the PS4. I actually switched over from my Xbox to my PS4. And I also been playing a couple things on the Switch that are like $1.99 games.
They're having a sale right now, I believe. For those of you who have Switches, I believe the Nintendo eShop is doing a like stuck at home sale. So there's a lot of stuff that's cheap right now.
Yeah, it's smart.
And Steam will do the same. I've also been playing a lot of VR too. So I'm kind of keeping myself busy.
Keith, I've been playing this role-playing game, but it's drawn. It's a draw dungeon or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if I can pull it up. And it's really interesting because everything's drawn in it, and you're going through this dungeon, and you have to defeat this castle, and it's really. I have to show it. Maybe I can pull it up. Dragon, something like that. Let's see if that's it. Okay, ink and paper on Steam. Okay, here we go. All right, hold on. I'm gonna use some of my ingenuity here to try to get this to come up. There we go. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, add to stream. There we go. Yeah, here it is. So let me just make this bigger. Okay, so you play as a warrior and you go through it. And it is like the neatest thing. And I think it's only a couple bucks, but it's a very old school type of dungeon thing.
That looks just like Dungeon Master, but in pencil drawing.
Exactly. Like
the old Amiga game Dungeon Master.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Like the controls look the same.
Yeah.
You just pick up stuff and throw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could do all kinds of things, but you can only carry a certain amount of stuff. And you can eat things and heal yourself. It's fantastic. I've had so much fun with it. I think it's only like a couple bucks on the Switch. The only thing is that the controls take you a little bit to get used to. And it's really it really takes a bit. And then they came out with another game with this skeleton. I forgot what the heck it is. I paid 99 cents for it. I can't stop playing it. You have to try to get better and better to go deeper in the rooms. So you end up fighting it, and you get killed like a million times to begin with. It almost becomes frustrating, but it also comes to a point where you can't help but you want to just keep playing it. It's one of those things. Oh God, I wish I can think of the name of it. But it's been things like that on the Switch that I'll just go in the bedroom and start playing it until I can't see. I mean, I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah. I know you love that Switch.
Dad, I haven't played anything on it.
I've been playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Switch off and on.
I played a bunch of Dragon Quest Builders, and I was enjoying it. And then all of a sudden, you ever get in a game that you've been playing and doing all right and just moving along, progressing along, all of a sudden you're just like, And
yep.
Completely lose interest.
I honestly did that with the Zelda game, Breath of the Wild. I got 2/3 of the way through the game, and I'm just to the point where I'm like, oh my God, this is like a second full-time job. There's so much. It was such a big game and had so much content that I haven't played it in like a year now. And I should go back and finish it because I'm pretty sure it's an amazing game. But there was so much to do in that game. And there's so much to discover that I just like, I don't have time for this. And I just put it away. I'm looking for quicker games now that I can beat it in a week or two and then enjoy it and then move on. Because if it's 200 plus hours of stuff, I just don't have time to invest in it. It'd take me a year to beat it. So
I've been playing this game called Spaceland on the PS4. and it's just a little turn-based game. It's real simple. Another one that was only a few dollars to download, and it kind of reminds me of the old XCOM. Remember the old XCOM?
XCOM, you mean the XCOM tactical shooter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like
Back
that
in
game.
the
I've
day.
got that on Steam.
My Amiga was my favorite system I've ever had.
Yeah, I loved my Amiga back in the day.
You know-
Switch, Fire Emblem, Three Houses, I really dug. I played the crap out of it.
I've heard good things about
you
Fire
said
Emblem.
that you were killing that. Did
Yeah,
you
I played
finally
through
finish it?
I've finished it 3 times. I've only not finished one of the ways of finishing it.
Wow.
Wow.
That game was awesome. It kept me going.
I love Might and Magic. The Might and Magic series is awesome.
Oh.
Now, I would totally play Divinity Original Sin 2 on there if I didn't already have it on PC.
Yeah, I've got it on Steam as well. I haven't
They came out.
beaten it
They came out with the sequel to it, Divinity, I think.
yet. In Divinity.
Yeah.
Divinity
I didn't know there was a
Original
sequel
Sin
to
2 is the good one. And,
Well, no, they just came out with something that was
that
a
team is
sequel.
doing Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes.
Yes.
And it
That's-
looks just like Divinity for the interface and everything else. And the storyline on the tutorial intro looks exactly like Divinity, which makes me laugh.
What? Where you're stuck on a boat and then you're trying to
You're
escape?
stuck on a boat and it crashes and you end up
Oh,
by
jeez.
yourself. That's exactly how the Baldur's Gate 3.
Let's just reskin Divinity
video
2
starts.
as Baldur's Gate and make $1 million.
I think they'll have to do more of that because they've got to go to the D&D core mechanisms, but still, it's like, how do we want to do the character intro? Oh, let's just rip off what we already did. Sounds good.
Oh, and they will. They'll rehash
they will.
everything they can.
Absolutely.
I mean, I get out of here and I try to go and play something, and I'll get all comfortable. I'll get the pillows all propped up on the couch. The wife's watching Housewives of whatever county it might be for the day. I lay down, I load up the game, and then it happens.
You fall asleep. Yep. I figured that was going to happen.
With the controller in hand.
Nice.
I think the only sports game that I've actually played in a long time is a game called Blood Hockey. And it is the most violent old school. Do you remember the old Nintendo hockey?
Yeah, NES hockey.
Yeah. It's that. Only every time you hit somebody, blood spurts all over the ice.
Nice.
It's pretty funny, but it's really a great game, a really great game. But as far as board games, I've been more print and play stuff. It's been stuff like this. I mean, D100 Dungeon. I mean, I absolutely love this game.
I don't do any print and play stuff. I guess I do enough prototyping stuff with Richard that if I'm going to play a game, I want it to be already done because I play so many games in prototype form as it is when we're working on stuff. So
that's why I just stopped doing any kind of prototype stuff. Because you just get a box full of like paper cutouts and stuff like that, and you can't get a feel for the game. So I just said, something, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Keith, what do you think about the Oculus Rift?
I think it's pretty cool. I played it a bunch when I first got it, and then, like everything else, I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with this for now.
Really?
Yeah.
I went through a phase like that too. To be honest, the first 6 months I had it, I was like on it constantly, and then I didn't use it for like 5 or 6 months. I it was a novelty and it wore off. And then for some reason, I just got the itch to get back and play, and I've been back on it again for like 6 months straight, playing every night or every other night. It comes in waves. It's definitely, it's never going to replace normal video gaming or board gaming, but I definitely have found some newer games that have really grabbing my attention and have kept me coming back. They're getting better. The games aren't quite there yet. They're still too short. They're still not a deep enough content, but they're starting to get there to the point where by this time, 3 years from now, there'll be full-fledged games that people will sink 200 hours into in VR. They're just not quite there yet.
Mm.
Do you really think VR is the future, though? I mean,
It's a niche. It's a toy.
I would say VR, as far as its place in the future, would probably be kind of similar to like handheld games. It's going to be there and it's going to be a part of it, but it's not going to be the mainstream. The mainstream will always still be flat video games on your TV.
There's too many people that have motion sickness or just don't have space to do it or don't want to walk into shit.
And it's not good for the younger kids. So,
Definitely,
they're still developing their eyes and stuff. So, you don't want kids that are under the age of like 10 or 12 to be in it for more than an hour or two at a time because it's not healthy for them. So it's never going to get that mass appeal like a regular game or an iPad or something would be because they can just play it unlimited. Whereas VR, you can usually only play it for an hour or two before you have to get out of the headset. So it'll never fully take over.
If you can get something just the size of like a regular pair of goggles that wirelessly connected with decent battery life, we're not there yet technologically, then it'll be easier for people to adopt. But
yeah, if you could pop on sunglasses, like sunglass type
basically
things, and just be able to get the same experience you get out of this bulky headset that you have to connect, that's a game changer there. But right now they're not there yet.
I've just been binge watching stuff. I haven't played much of anything for a little bit.
What have you been binge watching?
World War II stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I like rewatched Band of Brothers, and then now I'm watching World War II in color documentary on Netflix, and I've watched
Those are both excellent.
Saving Private Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
just things that are good. And then I tried to watch some military show that was modern that popped up on the Apple TV from Paramount called 68 Whiskey, and it was so horrible I couldn't take it. It's just bad. I work with a guy that was he's a retired Army Ranger after 20 some odd years, and I go say, "Is this BS?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't want to watch it anymore. It sounded too stupid to be real."
Your all-time favorite war film?
Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers, really?
Saving Private Ryan.
Band of Brothers is, I tell you what, the Saving Private Ryan, the Normandy landing, is the most intense cinema I've ever watched, right? It's just, you watch that and you're just like, that's just horrific, right? You just can't wrap your mind around what those people went through. And it just like makes you just, how could anybody make it through that? But for just overall experience, Band of Brothers is it for me, man. That is an amazing show. And I think it was, if you made it now, it wouldn't be as good because those guys are now gone. But the fact that you had at the intro to each episode some of the actual members of Easy Company that were still living at the time when that came out, talking about their experience, just made it more.
It enhanced it.
Yes. And I think if you don't have that now, it takes some of the, these are real people out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what made it a big, it was perfect that they did it when they did it. And I think that's kind of what was missing when they did the Pacific series. The Pacific was not as good as Band of Brothers. It was good, but it wasn't as good as Band of Brothers.
Yeah, I have the actual metal tin of the entire series, and I have yet to watch it, believe it or not.
You've never watched Band of Brothers?
Nope.
Well, if you're going to have some extra time around the house over the next couple months, you probably should.
And I saw like 5 minutes of it, and the reason I didn't watch it was because I cannot stand the guy from Friends so much that I wouldn't watch it.
No, watch it, because you will hate, if you don't like Ross, you'll hate Ross. You'll hate him more when you're done with it. He is
good.
A complete douche in this thing. I mean, he is a tool. Yeah, watch it.
Yeah,
I love Friends. I like Ross, and that made me kind of hate Ross.
Oh, well, if you hate Ross, then I'm really gonna hate him.
I like
because I would fight him in a cage. That's how much I hate him.
He's not a very nice person in that show, but he's also doing something that needs to be done. So,
Right.
Because what they're going to deal with is a lot worse than him when they get to Europe.
It's gonna. I wonder if it can top my favorite movie, which is Patton.
I've never seen Patton.
You know, see, I'll watch Band of Brothers if you watch Patton.
Well, just so you know, Band of Brothers is over 10 hours long.
That's all right. That's all right.
But go watch it. If you make it all the way through Currahee, you will be hooked for the rest of it.
Okay.
You don't the Currahee episode, you don't even get into any war stuff. It's just training.
Mm-hmm.
And getting to know their training and what those guys are like and getting to know the characters before they get to England and finish training and get ready to jump into Normandy. So, it just follows this company and it's all real. It's all about their real engagements. You know, there are a few factual errors and stuff. I watched it. So it's on Amazon Prime now as well.
Right.
And I watch it on Amazon Prime because when you watch it on Prime on your iPad, whenever you tap the screen, you get like the list of cast and you get trivia bits. The trivia bits are awesome on that show.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
The best way to watch Band of Brothers is on Amazon Prime.
I could do that because I've got Amazon Prime now.
You don't even have to dig out the disc. Just turn on the Prime app, go to Band of Brothers, start watching. Hooray!
We're getting a new entertainment center, so I started digging out all my DVDs out of that thing. Oh my God, I couldn't believe the stuff I found. I mean, like old school stuff. Kelly's Heroes and all that kind of stuff. The Dirty Dozen,
Bridge over River Kwai,
yeah,
that kind of stuff.
The old Midway.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. There's a new Midway out. I wonder how
Midway
that
was okay. I watched Midway, and that got me yearning for good movies. And so I started watching the other movies. Well, they Hollywooded it up too much. I mean, it was fine, but there's some crap that they just did to Hollywood that show up, which I found annoying.
Right.
But Midway got me wanting to check out some more stuff, and that got me binge watching all that stuff because I watched Midway a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, okay, time to watch some good World War II stuff. And then I started watching the stuff. And heck, I went to the range today shooting my World War II rifles. So, whatever.
That's right. You got a lot of rifles, don't you?
I got some. I took out my two M1s. I took out my M1 Garand and my M1 carbine today.
Oh, wow.
Because that way, I was watching them run around in Band of Brothers with those. So I've got those. I'm going to go shoot them.
Nice.
And you know what's not at the range? A bunch of other people at the outdoor range I go to. So I can also avoid. I can social distance while I threw lead at steel. So good time.
Nice.
But yeah, I like to collect military surplus firearms. So
oh,
a few.
You would love the show that they have here over at the Florida Fairgrounds. I took my wife the other day.
They canceled.
Huh? Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, no, it actually only goes from October to March, and we went right at the last one, which was like I think March 2nd or something like that. And oh my God, some of the old stuff. I mean, you could get the old World War II helmets, all the packs and stuff like that. I mean, those things last forever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just amazing the things that people pulled out. I mean, we just walked through it in amazement.
Yeah,
but they can only do it because the building's only air conditioned. I mean, isn't air conditioned. So October to May is all you got.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've got those World War II American rifles. They're from 1944, and I've also got a 1903 A3, which is the bolt action service rifle from World War II. And then I've got a German K98K Mauser. I've got a British #1 Mark III Star SMLE Lee Enfield, and I've got a Luger and a P-37, a Walther. Got a few World War II firearms that I've collected.
Wow.
Anything newer than World War II is too new for me when it comes to the old stuff.
Nice.
Well, no, I mean, then you're into modern stuff, right?
Well, yeah, if you start looking at Vietnam weaponry and,
right.
and Korean War.
Korea was the same thing we were using in World War II.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that long after. And then you move to the M16 in Vietnam, and that's a modern gun, right?
Right.
That's the last. We haven't developed anything new since Vietnam, basically, when it comes to technology. So then I've got a bunch of older stuff too. So I've got sitting over here because I don't have it in a safe because I can't find ammo for it. It's a Mannlicher rifle from 1894, I think.
Whoa.
Like, it's ancient. And then, so I can't shoot it, but I've got a 1904 manufactured Swedish 1896 that'll drive tacks.
Damn.
And I take it out and shoot it. And I'm not afraid to run it. So, yeah, I got these things over 100 years old. They still work.
Wow.
Amazing.
How many times do you go to the shooting range?
Not enough. I haven't been forever. I went out today, and I haven't competed in a while, which is, it's games, right? It's just like I can play a board game, I can play a video game, or I can go to the range and run a series of targets where I'm playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, there's not enough time in the day to do all three.
no, and with everything else that's going on, the lack of toilet paper and everything else, ammo prices have gone through the roof because people are running on ammo now too. So,
huh?
Well,
but now that you love World War II so much, how come you don't? Do you play any war games?
I don't play any war games.
Why is that?
They're just not my jam, I guess. I've not really played any war games. Like, I don't like real-time and turn-based strategy games on PCs either.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't get in that. You give me a World War II first-person shooter, I'll be all over that thing.
Oh, really?
I'll play the crap out of that. The original Call of Duty, which is just like the intro to Saving Private Ryan, man. That was it, man. I was so into that game. And the old Medal of Honor series.
Medal of Honor was a good series.
God, Medal of Honor was awesome.
But yeah, give me a World War II FPS game, and I'll run it. How come nobody's ever done a Korean War one?
Yeah, it's weird. Because World War II is the most popular of the major war games.
I mean, World War One. If you really did World War One the right way, you just sit in a trench and stick your head out and die. And so
I'm surprised that they haven't done enough Vietnam games just because of the jungle warfare. You figure that would have been a easy mechanic to implement.
There have been a couple. They haven't done them in a long time, Pete, but there were some when I was younger, and they just didn't stick like World War II. I think World War II sticks for people because, and you notice almost all World War II games are European theater, not Pacific theater, because you've got the true, you know who the villain is in history when it comes to World War II. And so nobody feels bad about shooting a Nazi. Whereas people that are that are in their own country, like in Vietnam, and were the ones in somebody else's country, right or wrong, that's harder for some people to get behind. So I think and you don't see as many modern ones either. But in World War II, there was a true bad guy.
Yeah.
That's what really, I think that's why World War II sticks for so many people. And people are like, man, I'm in the generation that, my grandfathers both fought in World War II.
Yeah,
so did mine.
You know, we're of that age.
We heard all the stories.
Then we're it, right? After us, people aren't going to know somebody directly that served because most of those people are gone now, and then that'll fade off. So we're kind of the last generation to have that romanticized almost view of World War II because people we knew served.
The only thing that'll get passed on is the knowledge the kids have from the games that took place in World War II. They won't know anything about the actual war itself.
Right. And on war movies, good ones that just came out on iTunes, I saw 1917, which is World War I.
I heard that was like unbelievable because it's just shot all
It's a
the way.
continuous shot film with like one break where somebody basically isn't awake, right? And the rest of it is you're just following people from start of the movie to finish of the movie.
That's amazing.
And it is gorgeous cinematography. And it shows some of the horrific things of World War One. If you really want to see and learn about a World War One show, it is the thing that Peter Jackson did. It's They Shall Not Grow Old? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, somebody had mentioned it early in the stream here. Oh, here they go. There it is.
Yeah.
They Shall Not Grow Old.
They Shall Not Grow Old is amazing because Peter Jackson and his team took footage from World War One, got it all to the same frame rate so people don't look like they're running in fast speed anymore, colorized it, and it's narrated with audio clips from interviews with World War One service members when they were alive. So all of the narration is actual World War One soldiers narrating the story. It's amazing, and it's horrific hearing the things they talk about. And the making of, because I saw this in the theater, and I don't know where you can see the making of now with Peter Jackson, was almost as good as the other movie when we talked about how they made it. So it was really cool.
What was the game? Wolfenstein. Did you like Wolfenstein back in the day?
That was, Wolfenstein
fighting the mechanical Hitler.
Yeah, that game's there's a board game for Wolfenstein coming out this year.
Yeah, Wolfenstein 3D was really the first person shooter game, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so that got it going. But to be honest, Wolfenstein games turned me off because they all go into the occult and monsters and robots and shit. Sorry,
yeah, I know.
I keep using my foul language, but here, don't think of me as a horrible person. But when I'm playing a historical game, I want to shoot people, not monsters. And I know that's all, but I'm of the opinion somebody takes a 30-06, they're down.
Yeah.
You don't keep running after you get hit with a 2,500 feet per second 30 caliber round. I don't care if it doesn't hit anything vital. You're still going to fall down and stay there because you're not going to be feeling good.
Now, isn't that a bullet that it spins? Tumbles.
30-06. Well, I mean, any bullet tumbles when it reaches the end of its velocity. 30-06 is like a torque. No, it's nice and rifled, got long range. It's like a train. It's a super accurate, decent round. I mean, that's what both the M1 Garand and the 03A3 ran the 30-06 in World War II. And the previous service rifle for the United States, the 1903 Springfield, as well as the 1917 Winchester, or whoever made it. It's the kind of called the it's an infield made for the U.S. but chambered in 30-06 that the U.S. made at the end of World War I. It was also in 30-06, and I mean that round will reach out there. That round will have an effective range for volley fire where you're not aiming at a specific target of 1,000 yards, but you can aim it accurately if you know what you're doing. 600 yards. It reaches out there. It's a very good ballistic round.
It's just amazing when you think of that stuff. And you were talking about earlier, that scene in Saving Private Ryan. I always, whenever I start playing a board game with Normandy or anything like that, that's the first thing that always comes to your mind. That and the part where the German guy is fighting the guy with a bayonet.
Mm-hmm.
And how, he starts out and then he's begging for his life and it just slowly goes in and the kid's watching the whole thing. I mean, it just shakes you up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are the two scenes that just stand out and you can almost not watch the movie because of it.
Yeah, that intro to Saving Private Ryan, I look at that and I'm like, I don't know how I could deal with that. I'm like, I just want to try to roll off the back of that boat and hide.
Yeah, you want to go underwater, but they were still shooting you underwater.
Yeah. At least the boat slowed down really fast underwater. But it's just so gross. Those 42s were just so nasty. The rate of fire on the German machine gun was just insane. And it just shot a big old honking round too. It was nasty. It's just terrifying. And I can tell when I'm watching a movie, I don't even have to be watching. I know whose machine guns are shooting because I can tell the difference, because only one thing sounds like the MG42. The American machine guns are more tat, 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 where the MG42 is just that, they call it Hitler's buzzsaw because it was such a high rate of fire. It's insane.
Wow.
It just blows my mind how those guys that ever slept again after getting through that.
Well, a lot of them didn't.
No.
They came back and they were just never the same. And the same thing happens today.
Yeah.
And they started to identify it more, but back then they didn't identify things. And think about going to Vietnam, okay, and then coming home and just getting booed on top of it, and things thrown at you on top of all the things that you've seen.
Yeah. If you watch Band of Brothers, though, there's an episode a little over halfway through, 2 episodes back to back, that basically it covers the Battle of the Bulge during that.
Right.
If you think Normandy made you feel bad, think the Battle of the Bulge will make you feel even more miserable. Not from the immediate terror, from the prolonged misery.
Yeah.
Of not having food, not having ammo, not having warm clothes, and being stuck in sub-zero temperatures with people trying to blow the crap out of you.
And surrounded on top of it.
It is so intense. The show's got a few lighthearted moments, but man, that miniseries, it'll hit you in the feels.
My wife's grandfather was actually there. And he had passed away a few years ago. And just the other day, she was showing my son. He has like a little diary with all the medals that he got, some of the French women that he was talking with that were in love with him, and all little things that he, money that he had attributed from there. It's just really interesting to see. And he would always say, I was at the Battle of the Bulge. I was at the Battle of the Bulge. But even he's gone now. There's not too many of them left. The golden age of man, they called it.
Yep. Yeah, every year we lose about, was it like 10% or something of the veterans that served, and it's going to escalate more than that, even as we get further along.
Oh, God. Yeah, nuts. That was, they asked him to surrender. They gave him a chance to surrender, and all he said, General Bradley, was nuts. Nuts. Was very close to my grandpa, but rarely spoke of war or shared many stories. Too much trauma and bad memories, I think. Yeah. I mean, anytime you go to war, I mean, just thinking, you don't know if you're going to wake up the next day. Like I always say, tomorrows are never guaranteed, are they?
Nope.
It's amazing how this was originally like a gaming. How was GAMA? Oh, well, World War II came, and then we.
Not far off. It doesn't take much to change topic and derail, especially when there's so much bad crap to talk about.
Oh God, yeah. You just got to try to stay positive as you can. Keep your heads up, and keep moving forward, like Rocky would say.
Mm-hmm.
Take the hits and keep moving forward. All right, you gotta like a Rocky movie, Keith, right?
The first Rocky I ever saw was Rocky 3.
Really?
Yeah.
With Clubber Lang. I've seen them all. Let me see. I've seen them all. I haven't seen any of the Creed ones. And
I think I went back and watched. I think I watched 1 and 2 later, and then never watched anymore.
just wasn't your thing.
Nah, it was fine.
Was it that they didn't have enough montages of them working out?
No, it's just
I've seen the 4 original Rockies, but I haven't seen any of the stuff after that.
Oh, you got to see the 5th one. Is it the 5th one? It's Rocky Balboa.
is 4 the one with Ivan
Drago.
Yeah,
Four's the one with Drago.
Then
I
I'm
thought
thinking
4.
6th.
Yeah,
I thought
5 is the one where he brings up the young guy.
Oh
and,
yeah, that one they should just cut right out. That one they should just cut right out. But it's the 6th one that's called Rocky Balboa that's really good, and it has this speech where he talks to his son, and it's like the most awesome thing. It really is. I wonder if I could pull it up, but I mean, you should say it to every kid almost. General McCullough. Oh, I don't know why I thought Bradley. Sorry about that. Commander of the 101st. Yep. You're right. I was wrong. It was such a good movie. Wow, we made it a whole hour the first one. I thought we would be about 45 minutes and that would be it.
Nah, we haven't had a chance. I haven't done a show in a couple weeks.
I know. I rarely get to talk to you anymore. Well, I talk to you once a week instead of we used to talk almost every.
No, you're a busy guy right now.
Yeah.
So.
And Keith, when was the last time I talked to you? I can't even remember.
I haven't talked to you in a while. I texted you a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and I sent something back. I think you got it. I hope.
Yeah.
But we don't get a chance to get together anymore, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's just the way things go. I mean, this is going to be a different year. Normally, when I'd be busy traveling all summer, I'm going to be home, so I'll be able to talk a lot more over the next 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, and usually you're, I was hoping you were going to be my roommate this year at Origins. Mm-hmm. Keith.
Gen Con.
But,
we'll see. It's possible. Maybe. I don't know. I guess no one knows right now, but it's possible Gen Con could still happen. I would, if I had to bet, I would bet against it, honestly. But but I guess there's still a lot can happen between now and August, so we'll have to see.
You know what I really want to know, Keith, though?
What's that?
Because last year I had your job where you would take the games from the booth, put them in the cart, and wheel them all the way over.
Yep.
Then come back, load up. How did you make? I mean, by the end of the first day, I had worn out like one of my shoes. I mean, how did you do that every single year?
Well, I only did that for BGG 1 year, but let's pull up my stupid thing. I walk a lot at Gen Con. Where's my stupid little thing here? Let's see. Last year was a down year for how much I walked, I think.
Oh, you got your step counter?
Yeah, let's go back. I can tell when it is because I see the day. Let's see. August 31st, 8.8 miles. That was Wednesday. Then Thursday was 12.6. Friday was 12.8. Saturday was 12.0. So that was last year in miles walked of hauling my fat butt around. Let's see. When we go back to 2018, August 1st was 14.6, which was Wednesday. 13.7 for Thursday. Friday, 12.9. Saturday, 10.4.
That's insane. That's an insane amount.
40-something miles over the show.
40 miles.
Then it was later in the year in 2017. So my Tuesday was 18.3 miles. Or no, that was Wednesday was 18.3 miles. Tuesday was a piddly 13.1.
Oh.
Thursday was 11.1, 11.4, and 11.4. But so yeah, my most in a day for Gen Con ever was 18.3 miles walk.
Wow. It's a lot.
That's a lot of mileage, my brother. That's
And Wednesdays before the con even starts, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's just walking around, hanging out.
Oh well. I was
And
first of all, they had me lifting all the boxes and everything like that. So
well, they had you building everything there last year. That looks heavy. Give it to
move.
Rob.
Yeah, ain't happening this year. But I started with that cart and I go, okay, I got all the games there. All right, come back, finish up. No, they would have another pile, another cart. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I hauled the year before, not this past one, the one before. I hauled them all, and it wasn't that bad. It was just more. I had to find the secret path to take to avoid all the people. Once I found my secret path, it was gravy.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Was finding the path.
My first trip, I went down the sidewalk. I'm like, screw this. There's got to be a better way. And then I found the elevator and the secret path at the top. That made life much better for running games.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Next week, we're going to be bringing this on a Tuesday. So it'd be a lot easier for all three of us, I think. And then I'm going to try to bring some other people in, just
you should rotate it out because not everyone will be able to make it every week anyway. So you might as well have a rotating cast.
Yeah, we're going to have a rotating cast, and we're going to do a couple, things and stuff like that. We're going to try to put some lists together and things like that, and we'll try to have like a little bit of a theme, but kind of just be able to say whatever you want, do whatever you want. Gaming question, guys. Is there a sense we have a board game saturation even before current circumstances? I also find I'm going back to older stuff since Rob's bringing all these all back to light. What do you guys think, Keith? Are we oversaturated?
I don't know if oversaturated. I mean, there's a ton of stuff, and it's that way with everything. But I mean, I feel, there's more stuff coming out than anybody can feasibly play.
Right.
But there's a lot more good stuff comes out every year.
Mm-hmm.
Like you look and go, when I first started messing with board games, it was getting close to 10 years ago. Now, I think it's 2010, 2011 when I got my first one. And games that were considered great then, a lot of them I wouldn't even consider a second look now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're just not even, I think the complexity, the depth, and the production are just eons ahead of 10 years ago.
Oh, God, yeah.
And that's the thing is there's just so much coming out that you do kind of get sensory overload. I mean, Gen Con got me started with board gaming, and I've watched Gen Con grow. My first Gen Con was 27,000 people, and most of Gen Con was role-playing games. It was probably, I would say it was 10% video games. I would say it was 60% RPGs and 30% board games at my first Gen Con.
Right.
And now it is 0% video games. I would say 80% board games and 20% RPGs in the exhibit hall. Now, RPGs are still way bigger everywhere else at the con, but the amount of floor space for RPGs is lower compared to board games now. Almost all the growth that I see at Gen Con is board games in that 10 years. Right. So, yeah, I mean, we're getting saturated. I don't know if we're oversaturated. And I mean, you could say the same thing with video games, but I feel like video games have reached a point where there's a lot fewer big AAA titles than there were 5 years ago.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The other thing I'll say, just to answer it, and then we'll let Pete answer. I think there are too many, and I'll tell you why. They'll hype up a game, and it probably isn't that good. Let's take Seafall, for instance. Okay. That Gen Con, they hyped it up. They only had 50 copies. Everybody ran to that and a couple other things. And there were a lot of things under the radar that people didn't discover or find out. All right. So now years later, here we are, and everything's been rehashed, quite a bit, almost kind of Call of Duty-ish to an extreme. You know, how many games can you farm wheat? You know, how many games can you go through so many missions and this, that, and the other, and so forth and so on. So you're kind of seeing the same thing over and over again. And people are starting to go back years and try to find something from out of those 1,500 games, because you can't go buy all 1,500 games unless you're Aldi. And they're starting to discover things that were really good. You know, like I'm pulling stuff out from 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm going, you know, I remember I got this and I never opened it up. And people go, oh, what's that? When did that come out? And you're realizing that you're missing out on a lot of stuff. So it is almost too much. You almost wish that companies come out with 2 or 3 what they consider their best games. What do you think, Pete?
Yes, I think oversaturation is a thing. I think if there's anything we'll get out of this year is that I think we'll see a decrease in the total number of games, which I think will actually be a benefit. But the biggest thing when you feel like you're getting oversaturated or you're getting overwhelmed with the amount of games is really just to know your lane, know what games you like, know what type of games you like. Stick to your wheelhouse. Don't think that you can possibly absorb every game that comes out, because you can't. If reviewers can't review everything, consumers can't consume everything. It's unrealistic. So, you know, really, you know, like a lot of people, you've seen it, everyone's seen it over the last 6 months, all the massive culls, all the people selling stuff, getting rid of all these games that are just taking up too much space. That doesn't happen when you have a normalcy in the market. But when you have a oversaturation like this, and people tend to hoard, as we've seen very good examples of recently, they get this mentality where they have to have it all, and they go out and buy it all, and then they play 10% of it, and then they end up selling the other 90% at half of what they paid for, because they just need to make space for new stuff. I think this year we'll see a little bit of a step back in that direction, and I hope that people have learned their lesson about having to buy everything. You know, I know I have. I've gotten rid of more games this last 6 months that I've bought. And now I'm paying more attention to what games do my friends buy. If they buy it, then I'm not going to buy it. You know, only certain games I'll buy regardless who owns it, and using other people's collections to be able to try out games that maybe I would normally just bought myself and found out on my own. I think if people learn to have better buying habits, then we can fix oversaturation by just, you know, letting the publishers know, hey, these are good games. We're going to support these games. We're not going to just buy everything just for the fear of missing it. You know, it's a problem. I think it'll self-correct itself, because technically when you get too many games, the only ones that will have any kind of lifespan will be the good ones anyway, because word of mouth and reviews and all that stuff gets out there now. So people know the duds a lot quicker than they used to. So games like that just won't last in the market and will fade away as quick as they come. But, you know, I think this year we're going to see that saturation point go down a little bit, because I think the amount of games coming out this year is going to be less. There's going to be a lot of small publishers that aren't going to survive what's going on because of the fact that they can't get their games out in time to pay the bills. And it's going to be a lot of attrition this year. And that may not be a bad thing. I mean, it's always a bad thing. You don't want to see people lose their businesses, lose their jobs. I'm not saying that, but I'm thinking that the amount of game companies, the amount of games coming out, it's going to take a hit because of everything else going on. And that may allow things to kind of resettle and kind of balance themselves out again for however long, I don't know. But
so you think this might be good for everything?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, I think a lot of publishers have always said that they wanted to put out less games and put quality over quantity. I know that's been one of the things we've strived to do is to try to cut down the number of titles and not put out 30, 40 titles a game, but put out maybe 15 or 18 that are better quality. I think a lot of publishers would want to do that. I think you save a lot of money doing it that way. Sell 10 games and sell a ton of them versus selling 40 games and selling a little bit of all of them. It's better for the market. It's better for publishers. It's better for everybody. So I think if there's a silver lining out of all the other stuff that's going on in this world right now, and it's even hard to say that because what's going on is so horrific, but I think that in our industry, the amount of games coming out is just so outstandingly high that a year or two in a row where those games, the number of games gets cut down drastically, will actually be good for the industry in a whole. because I think retailers are having the same problem consumers are. They don't know what to buy. There's too many. They look in their catalog and there's 3,000 games and they don't know what to stock. They have to make smart choices so that they don't go bankrupt. So they have to know what's hot and what's not, and you can't keep up with everything. So retailers are having a hard time stocking the right numbers. Distributors are having the hard time keeping the good titles in stock while they've got an abundance of crap they can't sell. Mm-hmm. All of that's bad for business at both levels. And then the consumer ends up paying for it because you can get any number of copies of X, Y, and Z, but those are okay games. But the games, A, B, and C that are really hot, they can't keep in stock because they go so quickly. So I think leveling out the playing field a little bit will help be able to stock the titles that sell and that people want, and get rid of a lot of the crap that ends up just thrown into people's trade fodder piles or end up at Goodwill. So, I mean, so sometimes auto self-correcting and a balance isn't a bad thing. So I think this year we'll see a little of that, and maybe next year we'll see a little more. But I thought there's been an abundance for like the last 3 or 4 years now. I think it's just getting to a point where it's going to hit critical mass. If it were to have kept going in the direction it would just be impossible to find those diamonds in the rough anymore, because there's too much to trudge through to get to them. So.
Oh God, yeah. If you think about the pile of games, what would you say? I'm going to start this with Keith. Keith, what would you say is the most underrated game in the last few years that you played that it just didn't catch on, but you think it's a great game that everybody should check out?
Can't think about that fast.
All right, well, I'll go. Pete, I want you to think about it too. But I'm gonna tell you what mine is, and then I'll give you guys a chance to think. Folklore: The Affliction. I remember when I picked it up 4 years ago. I think it was 4 years ago at Gen Con. I just got it for the miniatures because I figured something I would paint. Okay, it sat on my shelf in the wrapper for almost 2 years. Going right with what you said, Pete, where you buy too much at Gen Con because you know all the glitz, the glamour, and all this other stuff, and then you ship it all home, you show everybody it, and then it sits on a shelf. I mean, I still have stuff from probably 3 or 4 years ago that are still in the wrapper. And I pulled the thing out just out of chance. I said, well, this looks interesting. It's got miniatures in it, and I'll paint it. So I painted it all up. And then I started reading it and I started playing it, and it turned out to be like this fantastic experience. It was a lot of fun. And it slowly started, more and more people started to get behind it. Not because I did a video of it, but other people had started pulling it out and playing it and playing it and playing it. And now it ended up on Kickstarter for a second, another series of it. And I think it could have even been bigger than that, because it was that good. So I'll point it to you, Pete. What do you think?
No. Unfortunately for me, a lot of the games that I've been really gravitating to over the last year or so have been pretty big mass market games, or pretty big games that I think, like it'd be easy to say Horrified or the Jaws board game or Protocol or Champions, Marvel Protocol or Champions, but those are all games that are well known. Everyone's talking about them. I think they're selling well. So I'm going to go to a more obscure Kickstarter game I picked up that I've always thought was great. Just came out with an expansion that just got fulfilled recently, and that's Venom Assault. Venom Assault is a deck builder that's based off of G.I. Joe, basically. All the heroes are over the top, thematic to a specific thing.
Excuse me, Pete. What's it called?
Venom Assault.
Venom Assault?
Yeah, kind of like Cobra, like Venom.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
So they're playing off G.I. Joe. The whole game is based off of like G.I. Joe and all 80s pop culture toy type games. So there's like a nod to Transformers in it. All the characters are kind of like G.I. Joe. They're fighting an evil organization called Venom, which is like Cobra. It plays on a map, but it's a deck building game at heart, and you're trying to fight against different Venom leaders. It's got a very strong G.I. Joe theme, and since there's not a good G.I. Joe game on the market right now, that game took to me and my group. There's like 4 or 5 of us that really enjoy it. They just had a Kickstarter called Venom and Valor that had added some new cards and content. They're supposed to be doing a game that's an homage to Transformers that's going to be compatible with Venom Assault sometime next year. It's just one of those games for deck building games, which got really old for a while. This one has a unique twist to it. It's a really interesting game. It's hard as hell, so you're going to lose more often than you're going to win, but it's really fun and rewarding to play. And the artwork is just cool. It's that very vibe of G.I. Joe that it caught me in the right spot. So I really like Venom Assault. It's a very interesting game. It didn't do huge on Kickstarter. It was under 50,000 or 70,000, I think, for the original game, and then the expansion only did like 30,000. So nothing you would have really noticed. It didn't knock the socks off of Kickstarter, but all the people that got the game loved it, and I'm glad that they're making more content for it. So Venom Assault, that would be my choice for diamond in the rough over the last year or two.
Keith.
That stuff. I tend to, everything I get is, I don't feel like it's relatively unknown.
You buy a lot of big hit stuff.
I mean, most stuff is somewhat big anyway. You know, it's tough to come up with like Adrenaline. I think is really good, and people don't really talk about it anymore. But
that game flew under the radar.
Yeah,
I felt like it was out there enough. But that game's awesome because it's an area control game that doesn't feel like an area control game. Because in general, I hate area control games. But it's an area control game where you've got moving areas. It feels like a video game, but it's a straight up Euro. I think that one's really great.
And then if you get too far ahead, the game kind of balances itself. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really it's an under the radar game. It was hot for a little bit, and then poof, it just went away.
Yeah, it had a very short window, but that's like most games nowadays. It sells for 3 months or so, and then unless it's a ginormous hit, you don't hear about it anymore.
And I thought it was stronger than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I agree with Keith there.
Mm-hmm.
The most hated game of last year is up on Kickstarter with a second edition.
What's that?
Who goes there? God, I hated that game. It got the table rake award of shit where you just take it and it doesn't matter that I had a custom insert. I just threw cards in and stuff and shook it till I could get the lid on it. Then I gave it away. It's horrible.
All right, we're gonna answer one more question here. Any thoughts on expensive deluxe reprints? Will we see more? Good or bad for the industry? With a question mark.
Yes, we will see more.
Like Rocco, Suburbia. Some of these games are pretty insane, over-the-top treatments for a game. What are your thoughts, Keith?
Oh, yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to continue. And I'm okay with it. Nobody's going to force you to buy it. So if you don't like it, don't buy it.
No. Pete.
When is the Deluxe for Coco coming out, though? Because I need that.
Will we see more good or bad for the industry deluxe reprints? I think no. I think what's going to happen, what'll happen is there'll be the one or two big games that gets a 10th anniversary edition or 15th anniversary edition type thing. But I think there's just too many new games coming out that even a deluxe version of an older game just hasn't got the glam or glitz that it would have had 5 years ago. Like Takanoko did a deluxe edition. Ticket to Ride did a nice 10th anniversary deluxe edition. Those big games, you'll see the big anniversary ones get a reprint that maybe updates it, but games that just did moderately well, even a game like Blood Rage, I don't think you'll ever see like a second anniversary edition,
edition or anything like that.
I think those games they hit and they do well, and you'll see expansion content for them. But there's just so many games now that if someone sees a Ticket to Ride on the shelf, they're not going to care if it's a different edition or not. They know what Ticket to Ride is. They've played it a billion times. They want to play something new. So I don't think it's a big fad. I think only the really mega hits will see like anniversary edition type stuff, but a game that just did really well, you'll just be the classic version with maybe expansions and stuff, but not like complete deluxe reprints.
Well, I mean, doesn't a lot of stuff go on Kickstarter now, and then what ends up happening is that they pimp it all out. You have a choice to either get the small, the regular, as they call, retail edition, or you end up with this giant pimped out edition with, with gold dice and, gold flake leaf lettering on the box
I mean,
cover.
and they'll do stuff like second editions. Like if they got a lot of rules wrong in the rule book, and then if it's a small company where they'll, instead of reprinting the game, they'll do a second edition of the game and fix some of the stuff that they got by on the first edition. Stuff like that you'll see, and that stuff happens all the time. But as far as just blinging it out just to have a deluxe version, I think if the game sold so well, really well, like a Ticket to Ride kind of well, you probably see that. But those games are so few and far in between now. A game like Ticket to Ride coming out in the market now would never have been the mega hit it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago, whatever. There's just too many games now for any one game to go gangbusters like that. It's evergreens are going to be slowly fewer and far in between, which means the opportunity for these deluxe reprints will also be fewer and far in between. So
this game is great. It needs a reprint because it's out of print. It also needs some kind of treatment to debuttglify it.
Yeah, I mean, we're not alone in that. Ethnos was a game that's a perfect example of that. The original game, the graphics design and stuff wasn't the prettiest. Great game, people loved it.
It was fun. I love that game.
It's a great game. That's actually that would have been a good pick for like a game that went under the radar. People looked at it, that doesn't look very appealing. The map looks kind of boring, but the game's freaking great. And hopefully that's the type of thing that maybe, could get revisited down the road if it ever, there was enough demand for it, because it's a game that's been out of print for a little while now. And I think that if it was really beautiful and had the full treatment like you see a lot of our games, it would have done a lot better. But because it was a minimalistic game and, it didn't have all the glitz and glam as like a Scythe or a Blood Rage or a Rising Sun, it flew under the radar. And that's a game I would love to see come back. So stuff like that I can see happening, but in general, no, I don't think that the deluxeified versions are going to be a thing anymore. I think that's going to die away. They're either going to come out blanging and ready to go, or they're just not.
Definitely. Well, there you have it. I always wanted to keep this thing to about under 2 hours. I think when you go way too long, people can't rewatch it or anything like that. And one of the things that I really wanted to get involved is the actual community. I mean, we had up to 40 some odd people in here at one time, which was fantastic. And I'm sorry I didn't get to all your comments, but I'll tell you what, one of the things I want to do is if you guys come with a topic or you have questions, we're going to be here to answer them. Okay. We really want to make you guys part of this. And I want to thank the fantastic and wonderful Keith Collins he was exhausted and he came on anyways, but that's the kind of champion that he is. Yeah, that guy right. Whoa, no, that guy right there.
There you go. Do the Brady Bunch thing. I'm out.
Yeah, the
Look
Brady
up
Bunch
at Keith.
We go. Hey, Keith. Yeah, you're the best. When you have somebody like that, he just livens up everything that we do here. And of course, thanks again to Pete for giving us a real quick rundown of GAMA and everything, and just being here. And we're going to do this on Tuesdays. So these guys may be here, they may not be here. Maybe we'll have some of you guys come in. Who knows? But I hope you guys will be back again, because I loved having you guys here. You guys are very good friends of mine, and you don't know how much I appreciate both of you for doing this. And I hope to see you again next week. So, for myself, Rob Warren, Keith Collins, and of course, the great Pete Shirey from CMON, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right, from CMON.
Don't forget, Marvel United's still in late pledge, so if you haven't got it yet, go for it. That's my one shill plug of the show.
There you
Save
go.
It for the bitter end.
Do you got a shill plug, Keith?
I don't have anything to shill.
All right, guys, just hang on for a second. All right, everybody, we'll see you soon. It's your old pal Rob. Take it easy. And broadcast.